Welcome to episode 13 of our special sode, a celebrasode 13 of Savage Discourse. Savage Discourse.
It's a lucky episode. Lucky 13.
Oh yeah.
This should have been the Halloween episode.
Lucky celisode sounds like it's a celibate episode.
Yeah, no.
There will be no intercourse. Absolutely no intercourse in this episode.
not this one.
Not this. Not this episode. If you're thinking in celibate thoughts, you're bad.
If you are here for sex, turn around.
Now, I'm not the kind of man to just be handing out blowjobs. So if you're looking for that sort of thing, you've come to the wrong man.
Try episode 14.
Episode 14 it is. I'll be back.
Why does my mic do this?
So, because you're smashing your face into
it keeps coming back. Maybe
Oh.
because I'm pushing it.
Just like in unhealthy, toxic relationships, we come back, even though we've been mouth punched away.
Oh. Everything's a metaphor.
Everything. Okay. Welcome to episode 13 of Savage Discourse. This is a very special episode.
Very special.
Oh, man, I did the one thing we're not supposed to do.
Yeah, why are you eating?
Nothing happened. Welcome to episode 13 of the celebisode. This is a celebration because somebody that I know that's very dear to Kyle and I, that we've known for a long time, has been experiencing this terrible legal impactment, this terrible legal constipation where everything is stuck. They've been in this purgatory, this legal and social purgatory for almost 3 years, 2.5.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's dear to me. I hate this guy.
Oh, I thought you guys were close.
No, not really.
I really misread that situation.
Yeah, I'm fake.
I feel like don't come to me because you will not get the genuine article.
Yeah,
you're gonna get the fact. You're gonna get the knockoff friendship.
Everyone thinks I like him. I hate everyone. Couldn't be further from the truth.
Wow, we've really taken off in a direction. And there, you mouth punching your mic again.
I can't help it. It keeps coming back.
Well, I want to get, so it's like you don't have the Gucci friendship, you have like the Goody friendship.
Yeah.
You're like, it's close enough to real friendship, but deep down the fabric is worn and it's not going to have enough pockets and the zipper's going to break.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. I actually like everyone.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well,
the person's me.
the person's Kyle. He's done. He got a. Well, actually, here. This is your adventure and your story to tell. So, why don't we just kick off the episode with your tell your tale, lad. Tell your tale.
All right. So, I talked about it in another episode. I think I was pretty vague about it, but
Necessarily vague.
yeah, I probably didn't need to be vague.
I think you made the right decision.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, a couple years ago, going to a music festival in Alabama. I hate Alabama now.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? Why would they host a music festival, an international festival that drives hundreds of thousands? I don't know what the last what's the word I'm looking for? Like how many attendees
Population.
they have?
I don't think it ever got 100,000. That's a lot of
It's
people.
like 70,000.
It's a lot.
Like why would they invite, knowing full well what carnival and festival culture brings and what it engenders, to one of the most zero tolerance policy southern states that exist?
The beach.
Okay, but there's an entire ring of coastal cities that probably would have been happy to host it.
I feel like most of them down there, like Texas, no. Alabama, no. Florida, no.
Alabama tried. It's been down there for several years.
I'm saying, like, as far as conservative, like, they're going to crack down. Imagine this happening in Texas. I would have just got the chair. I wouldn't even got a trial. I would have got shot in the back of the head, probably.
They would have been like, Mr. Well, I was going to say your last name.
I mean.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Savage, welcome. Oh, do people not know? I bet that if you don't know, Savage Discourse is a play on words. The first part of discourse.
Jesus.
The first part of savage is meaning the first part of savage is to mean that the discourse is of a nature that is rugged and intense and potentially antagonistic. But the second lesser known meaning of savage is actually the former surname of 50% of the interlocutors that are communicating via the podcast.
It's my last name. My name's Kyle Savage.
Yes.
And this is John Discourse.
Excuse me, John Discourse was my stepfather's uncle's brother's cousin.
Brother.
He was my brother's uncle's cousin's brother.
All right, so I'm at this music festival in Alabama, Hangout Fest, which I've given so much money to. This was my 5th year in a row. This place, and
was it really
5th year in a row, John? This is my first music festival I ever went to. Was a Hangout Fest in that shitty RV.
I was not a part of that.
You weren't. I don't know if we were that close back then. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you missed out on a pretty terrible time. Don't ever cram.
That's what I heard.
Don't ever cram 12 people into a 4-person RV. You're not gonna have a good time.
12 people in a crammed 4-person RV equals lots of stank.
Lots of stank, and we bottomed out and the septic tank started leaking.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. Anyway, 5th year down there, I was like, I'm pretty used to this. I know how things work. And this year, I was going hard at music festivals. I believe this was like mid-year of that year.
No,
and
it was like March or April, or it was in May.
That's like, all right, that's almost mid-year.
It's pre-mid-year.
All right, pre-mid-year. I had already been in the last like year before that, in the 12 months leading up to that. I'd been to like, I want to say like 7 or 8 music festivals. Like I'd been to a lot.
I remember because you had like bangles and bangles of these beautiful multicolored psychedelic phantasmagoria.
Beautiful.
Oh, this menagerie, this peacock, this bracelet peacock of different festivals.
Yeah, it was so nice. Like it was from my wrist to like over halfway up my forearm. It was nice because I'm not even counting like the local festivals. Those were like 9 places that I traveled to, but like Louder Than Life, Forecastle, Terrapin, like I wasn't even counting
before
them.
we start using the distance up your forearm as a metric for success and wokeness, is your forearm the American standard length?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it?
Yeah,
all right.
It looks that way.
Sweet.
We haven't done studies, but I mean, it looks reasonably. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say that's average.
All right. So if you hold up your forearm and you look halfway up it, that's where the wristbands were. Assuming you also have a standard length forearm. All right. So going to this music festival, things were great. I also had hippie hair back then. You remember that? I had hair down to my shoulders, almost past my shoulders.
He braided every patch of hair that you can imagine on his body. So he had pit braids, chest braids, back braids, lower back braids, upper buttocks braids, internal intra buttocks braids, and groin braids. But he didn't braid his hair.
Yeah, the hair was left alone. So it was a problem too. Like I looked like a hippie. I was a hippie, I guess. But anyway, so festival starts. First day was fine. Second day, got drunk and
was that the catalyst? Do you think you went in an inebriated state of mind and weren't playing it as safe?
Yes, because that used to be my biggest concern going into festivals was how am I going to get in and take what I want in and not get searched. And I was always super over the top with being careful about it. But this year I'd been desensitized to the whole thing because I'd been to many.
And by of course what Kyle means is by external products is like friendship bracelets, stickers, lip balm.
They hate that shit in Alabama.
Yeah, they do. We're a rugged, individualistic Southern country. You better not be forming no bonds with any of your kinsmen. It's a one man land.
You're talking friendship and stickers.
Now we could have abided one of those.
because of all these other festivals that I went to, and all these other festivals were in much more liberal locations. They didn't care at all. Like they just pushed you right through the line. They didn't search you at all. So I was my guard was down, definitely. And also alcohol and under the influence of stickers and whatnot.
Yeah. Stickers are very powerful.
Mm-hmm. I walked in not prepared. So I walked in with the illicit substances, and I was wearing, this is a beach, 90-something degrees. I was wearing a hippie tie-dye tank top. I think hippie swimming trunks.
Continue. I did it off mic.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't hear.
Continue. What are you wearing? But transport me. Take me to where you were.
I was wearing a flower hat and a scarf. It's also known as a pashmina. But
and they're so soft.
They're so soft.
Thread counts through the roof.
It's really good. So I got tagged. I got pulled immediately. They were like, this man has...
They probably watched you come from, like... They probably watched you as soon as you walked out of the hotel, like a beach away. They were like, we've got eyes on a potential bogey.
They did. No, that's what my lawyer said, was they have people up. You know how there's all those buildings around there? They have people on those buildings with binoculars, like signaling people before they even get to there.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said they probably saw you like literally a mile away.
What?
Yeah.
I've said this before, and this is probably going to become my catchphrase. What kind of Orwellian bullshit is that?
That's why I only recognize 49 states now.
I'm going to help you tidy that up, and we'll knock out a few others.
That's cool. Well, I mean, only one has really wronged me. All right.
In a personal way.
Yeah. So, get to the line, get through the line, and I get grabbed. And he pulls me to the side, and he goes... Go ahead and tell me what you got on you. Not even.
Wow.
Not even. Do you have anything?
No foreplay. No like tickling. No.
He didn't even introduce himself.
Didn't whisper any sweet whisper in your ear.
No, he didn't ask me what size glove I'd prefer to him to put on before he searched me.
He's like, I want you to know, sir, I have larger than average hands, so I'm using thinner than average gloves to even that out so that your rectal cavity doesn't expand further than it needs to. And you're like, this is the best police cavity search experience I've ever had.
This is so nice.
Wow, are you married? Is there a Mrs. Cop?
So he was the opposite of that. And he told me to spread them and turn around. And he started filling up my leg. And he's like, all right, I fill them. Go and pull them out. And then I did. And I gave him the stickers. And he said, what is this? And I told him what genre of stickers they were.
What? Yeah, I was trying to think of like when I worked at a clinic, like all the different types of like we had like oh my god, of course, like whoa, like what do kids like nowadays, like puppy pals and like stuff like that, like different genre of stickers. He's like, you better not be having no roly-poly-oly stickers.
Yeah, these were indeed roly-poly-oly stickers.
Oh,
and
that's good wordplay. But sad and real in the real. in its reality.
He wasn't prepared for the roly-poly-oly stickers because these particular stickers, if you touch them, they're very potent. They are potent stickers.
But the thing that was really fascinating to me, and also like I guess it makes sense and they have to draw a line somewhere, but is like they were okay with several other stickers that are really smelly and green, but they're not okay with these other stickers that like it just felt very like
those stickers have been decriminalized in most places.
Not in Sister Fuck Alabama.
Not there, but other places.
Excuse my language.
Well, anywho, as he's pulling them out, his senior officer comes by and he's like, "What is this?" And I tell him, and they start freaking the fuck out. They're like, "Don't touch it! Don't touch it! Put on your gloves! Don't handle that!" And they handcuffed me, and I was like, "Relax, y'all."
You don't want to accidentally experience a shift in your cognition.
Yeah, it's like, see how you're reacting that way, and I'm reacting this way.
Jeez, that's awful.
Yeah. So, yeah. Then they hauled me away, put me in hangout jail, which
is behind one of the main surf stages.
Yeah, it's in a tent.
Like exactly, like let's just be like in terms of like locations, like for where they hold the people that are committing no actual reasonable issue in a music festival offense. Like they put you behind, like they actually put you in a pretty nice place.
I was dancing in there.
They could have put you like by the porta potties or like outside of the festival. They actually put you behind a pretty nice festival stage.
Yeah, they took me in, and inside this tent, this was a big tent, like a very big tent, but it was like a shotgun house, but like a tent, shotgun tent. So in one section, they do all the processing, and as they're processing me, they come up and they literally told me, they said, "What is that over there?" and pointed above my right shoulder. And I didn't think this was going to be like a gotcha game with a cop. I was like, what? And I looked over there, and they cut off all my wristbands. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so puerile. That's so infantile.
Yeah. They misdirected me.
They were like, "Hey, hippie, hey, look! I think there's a Jerry Garcia over there," and you're like, "What?"
Oh.
And then they do that, and they just look at how they massacred my boy.
Yeah, and then they threw them all away. They didn't even give them back.
That is some like who did they what okay, and I know that there's like without going into like the whole political climate, like there's so like the amount of training that police don't receive is so fascinating. But it's even more curious to me is like at a festival where people are literally like 9 times out of 10 the most understanding, common, like open-minded, gentle, easygoing people, and they don't know what, like they think that with these drugs they like treat them like they're like cartel members. Like what did they think you were gonna do if they were like, "Sorry, we're gonna have to cut these off of you"? You probably have been like, "Oh, do you have to?" And they'd be like, "Well, no, but we're gonna be dicks about it." And you'd be like, "Okay,
well, that's fair. Thanks for letting me know." That's exactly what would have happened. I was like, "I get them in a bag," and they would have been like, "No," and I would have been like, "All right."
Like what kind of training? I could just see them like in this like this like Spartan room, like with one swinging like lamp from the roof, like with one like flickering light bulb, and they've got like a chalkboard on the wall, and they've got like these like 1950s propaganda pictures of people on drugs from like reefer or 1920s from Reefer Madness, and they're like, "These people are unpredictable and they're crazy and they will bite your face off," because they think everyone does PCP.
Yeah. I mean, basically, if you think about it, the amount of officers that have experienced any sort of drugs are probably pretty low. So they probably assume every drug is on
you
the
mean
same
experience
level.
like cognitively, not like in the line of duty.
Yeah, and I mean, like they have experimented. They haven't, and they probably assume that every single drug is basically heroin. So...
Wow.
Yeah, that's my thought process.
Man, that's why I buy so much Advil. It's good.
Yeah, it's great.
Gets you lifted, if you know what I'm saying.
Of course, alcohol isn't a drug.
Acetaminophen. Oh no, alcohol, dude.
Alcohol's fine.
Alcohol's just distilled wheat and barley. It's just plain. It's just wheat.
Yeah. Police officers can drink that as much as they want.
Stinky wheat. Stinky.
So, cut all those off.
I still don't feel vindicated, but let's continue.
Cut all those off, got all my information, and then threw me in a cage in this tent with all the other people that were actually going to real jail. And before they threw me in this cage, I was handcuffed the whole time. Then they cuffed my feet together and then put one of those Hannibal Lecter like things around my stomach, like a chain around my stomach, and handcuffed my hands to that and my feet to that too. Like, yeah. Like I was like, I just killed someone. And I was literally like, is this necessary? And he was like, yep. And he clicked them and put me in the cage with all the other hard criminals. And then I sat there and talked to my new friends.
Let's talk about that, because you and I have talked a lot about this before. Like, tell me, like, the peanut gallery, like the array of individuals, because some people were there and they were just, terrified, and some people were there who had already partaken their stickers and they were feeling a little bit. So
I'd say there were probably, when I got in there were probably 6 people in there. Ended up being like 12 or 13 by the time I left, because I was in there for like 2 or 3 hours. When I got in there were 2 people crying, which understandable.
Yeah.
There was
probably think their life is over.
Yeah. There was one dude who was on the cusp of freaking out, and you can tell, and I'll tell you why later. And then there was another man that was just complaining. He was like, "This is bullshit. I'm suing them." He was like, I don't deserve this, because if his story is true, he didn't deserve it. Well, he did deserve it because he messed up. If his story is true, then I'm sure he got off just fine. His story is he had a prescription for Adderall, and he wasn't carrying it in the prescription bottle, and they caught him going in. So, I mean, I'm sure all he has to do is show his prescription. He's like, yo, these are mine.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're allowed to carry those outside the bottle. But
part of me wants to say that that's poor judgment, is to bring your loose medication and, in with you.
And I also think it was a complete lie.
Yeah.
Because I think he was just trying to, I don't know.
I mean, maybe he was just trying to try to have a little bit of an excited, stimulant time that was legal for him. Like the same way people drink a lot of alcohol, he was probably trying to just take a few more extra little speed demons. And
well, the reason I assume that he's lying about this is because I was sitting there and I was like, so this is my first time. I don't really know what's going to happen. He was like, oh, I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. And he proceeded to tell me about like this diversion program and everything that actually happened. He told me all that sitting right there. And he was like, yeah, this is like my third time in here. And I was like, man, you really need to start carrying those in a prescription bottle.
He's like, and I'm so furious because the other 2 times they said the exact same thing to me.
This is insane.
I keep telling them it's just my Adderall. Okay, now I feel a little. Okay, I see the bigger picture.
Yeah. I feel like
that's hilarious.
Yeah, but he was furious and he was talking all this shit, and then he proposed the idea because me and him were like the only two that we were having a conversation. Everyone else was freaking out either because they were too emotional, because they were like everything was sinking in what was happening, and then the one dude that I was like he was on the cusp of like losing it was because he had just had 6 hits of acid and he was sitting there. They hadn't kicked in yet, so he was going to get to experience hangout Jill.
That sounds. They probably just what's the thing that they pump people through whenever they think they have like overdosed on like it's like not fentanyl, but it sounds like that. It's
what,
like
on psychedelics?
Or like if you're freaking out and you can't calm down, they like inject you with something.
Like Narcan, is that what you're talking about?
Something like that. Yeah, that like invalidates it somehow chemically renders it somehow blocks all those receptors that are
for psychedelics.
Yeah.
Though? Oh,
and other drugs.
Huh. Okay. Well, they didn't care.
It may not be Narcan, but it's something like that.
Yeah, so I think Narcan's for. Wait, no, that's for that. I think that's when that's when you overdose on heroin. I think. I don't know. Anyway,
jeez, what a stark contrast of experiences. Being on a beach with a bunch of people who are vibing the same way, and then being in a holding cell behind the stage with people. Oh God,
no one was vibing with me in there, and
you guys had the dirty vibe.
Yeah, and so they kept bringing people in. The guy, it would get quiet for a while, and then this guy would start talking to me again because I guess he wanted to have a conversation, and he was like, yo, we could. It's like, what if next time they bring someone in here, we just rush them and we can get out? And I was like, no, we can't get out. There's like 10 officers in here and they have us Hannibal Lecter chained. What do you mean? And he was like, well, we could climb this fence. And I was like, you think you're jingling climbing up this fence you think they might look over here?
What are they going to do? You guys are all tethered. You're going to swim to freedom and sink
And like, who do you know around here is going to saw these things off? Like
the desperate musings of
I was like, no, buddy, we're going to jail. And you've been there twice.
Listen, I don't know why you think things are going to be different, Mr. Pocket Adderall. Pockerall.
Yeah. So eventually they kept on bringing people in, and they pretty much fit the other 2 genres. Either they were freaking out crying or they were freaking out because they were about to start their trip. And then they brought a man in, and I thought he was just being belligerent because he was just saying nonsense. He was like slurring his words and stuff, and they were basically dragging him in. I thought he was just like being difficult. But then I realized he was on so many drugs, so many psychedelics that he was not on this earthly plane anymore. And they just threw him into the cage on the ground, closed the cage. Like, they were outside, threw him in, closed the cage, and locked it because, they're scared of him, obviously, because he's on drugs and they don't know what those do. And then they just start screaming at him to get in the chair, or they're going to tase him. Also, I will go ahead and say, I don't think this man spoke English when he was off of drugs. So they're screaming at him in a language he doesn't understand. He doesn't even understand human speech right now. And they're just screaming at him to get in the chair. And all of us are like, hey, don't think he understands you. Maybe stop yelling at him. And then they would just tell us to shut the fuck up. And it was insane. Eventually, I think he figured out what they were trying to say. He sat in the chair for like 20 seconds till he fell off of it, and then they just walked away.
That is wow. And I know that that's like a micro example of like the undertraining, non-empathetic, like emotional intelligence of those people in that roles. I know that's just like a microcosm of like the much bigger picture, and but that is like, it just feels inhuman.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it feels awful.
if you use drugs, you're not human, don't you know?
Yeah, but not alcohol. Like whenever you get drunk and you miss your kids' event, or you hurt your. I'm obviously painting a straw. Well, not a straw man, but I'm painting like a very specific archetype. Like, anyway, sorry.
Anyway,
Sorry.
So, while we're chilling in there, because like John said, this is pretty premium location. We hear Logic come on.
And Logic, for those of you who don't know, he doesn't rap anymore.
He doesn't?
But he quit.
What?
Someone told me that. I don't remember who. I mean, hearsay, they say, I don't know, but like yeah, he's a alternative like rapper, and he's got what do the kids say, like a ill flow.
I think that is what the kids say.
Like it is like the darkest, heaviest period, like illest flow.
Yeah. So, he came on with his ill flow. And I was a big Logic fan. He was one of the main reasons I wanted to go to this festival, because I had never seen him before. And so I started dancing because I was trying to enjoy myself. And the officers didn't like that. And they told me to sit down.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But whatever.
Why is that? Why does that bother? Like, what controlled are they? They just, it's like, do you know the Stanford prison experience, where they give like, it's literally like they give these people no emotional intelligence, no training, and then they are surprised when crazy, like all these abuses of power happen.
Doesn't that experiment basically say that's just human nature?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you give someone an iota of power without training, without setting regulations, and no accountability, they divert to I'm in control and you're not. And that. So what I'm saying is, like, you were locked up, you were chained up, you were in a holding cell that was locked up. And they're still yelling at you to not to adhere, to just sit there. Like, fuck them.
It's a control thing.
Like, who? Yeah, like, well, yeah. I mean, but it's like, what other control do you have? Like that to me, I'm gonna say it sounds Orwellian. Like that's just, it's like they're just not.
Really enjoying that book, aren't you?
I finished it. It's amazing. Highly recommend it. It's just like, where does the control? Like, what are the limitations of that? Because they, by all accounts, like you were what's the word? Like whenever you incapacitated, you were incapacitated. Like you literally, so like you moving around and jiggling, like fuck, like, oh my dude, that just, oh man, that chaps me. That chafes my cheeks.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy about it at the time.
Makes me furious. Well, I mean, and I guess the reason I'm saying that is to translate it is like I work in a field and probably will return to working in that field despite trying to diversify my portfolio. Something that we always have to tell people is like, these individuals, whether they're early intervention kiddos, whether they're adolescents, whether they're adults, you are literally the only party. Like, you're the only person there that, like, you're the adult. Like, and not only are you the adult, you're the caretaker. You have to make sure they're medically safe, they're behaviorally safe, make sure they're emotionally, that all the, basically just make sure that everything's safe. But there's always that fine line. Like, there will be times where we have to get on, and not just like direct line staff, but even supervisors who create master's level having clinicians every now and then that will overreach, and they like go beyond the programming. Like, the programming is designed to teach socially significant behaviors that are socially meaningful to individuals. But there are times where, because you literally we're talking about human behavior, which is everything we do as organisms, people will then be like, well, I don't want you to sit that way. I don't want you to stand that way. I don't want you to walk that way. And it's like, this isn't the intervention plan. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, that's human nature. Like, let them be a human, let them be personal. Like, especially in that case where, like, and I guess the translation is like, that control, that power is so dangerous if you're not trained. And like, obviously there's no training because they don't. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, there's no training.
It gives me goosebumps. Like, it makes me so angry. Like, that's so. Ugh. Yeah. And I know that, again, like, as that's a microcosm of larger issues that are going on. But like, you weren't a threat. Like, no one in there, and a lot of people aren't. Like, in a bigger.
I would say no one in there was a threat, except for maybe dude wanting to rush the guy. That guy.
Yeah, the calm, collected Adderall pocket, the loose Addy guy.
Yeah, because that was in fact
He's
his
like,
third
hey man,
rodeo.
Hey man, look in my pocket. I've got a box cutter. We'll stab him in the jaw. You're like,
they didn't find that.
He's like, okay, I've got one in Nature's pocket. I've got an assault rifle in my Nature's pocket.
They found my sticker. They didn't find your box cutter. All right.
Anyway, sorry.
So,
you're there in literal prison,
Yeah.
in hell prison.
I feel like I was there for like 4-5 hours.
Mm-hmm. You were.
And then
That tracks.
And then they came through, and they weren't talking to us. They were just talking to each other about how they were going to transport us out and how inconvenient it was going to be to transport us to the actual jail an hour and a half away. And I was like, you can just let us go.
Hey, I've got a crazy idea. No one in here has done anything dangerous to anybody other than potentially ourselves, and we're fine. Why don't we call a spade and let us go enjoy this $500 music festival?
You don't even have to pay for gas. You don't have to worry about driving.
You guys
us.
all seem like reasonable, open-minded, intellectual, intelligent, sensible human beings. Why don't we have a conversation?
The conversation didn't happen. So eventually the van showed up, and I don't know if anyone's been transported in a prison van before. Sucks real bad.
I can't say I've had the luxury.
It's if you imagine like an Amazon van, all right.
Okay.
That's what it looked like.
I've got it locked in my head. I've got it on the pedestal.
Yeah, except it was white. And
Okay.
in the back there is a wall going straight down the middle. So you open the two back doors.
Oh, no,
right?
I get it. Yeah,
There's a
vertical.
wall-
It's like
yeah.
running parallel to the sides of the van.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there are benches on both sides going all the way. There's literally there's not enough room. You have to squeeze in there like with your back to the wall. Your knees are touching that wall in front of you. And the benches are just like straight metal. Everything's metal in there. And they just throw you in. No seatbelts. No safety in this thing. Throw you in. My guy that was freaking out on like 12 hits of acid that doesn't speak English, still freaking out obviously, and they literally like 4 people pick him up and just throw him in there on the ground like across 3 other people's feet and then close the door. And so we were like, hey, can you like help him? This probably isn't a good way to drive.
Yeah, this is literally against every state and federal regulation to transport somebody.
They didn't care. So
No, because you're not a human to them.
yeah, so then they got in and we started driving. That was one of the most uncomfortable rides I've ever been in, just because it's just uncomfortable. Everything is metal. Oh, I forgot the guy next to me. I forgot this heart-to-heart he was having. He was on my level. Like, he wasn't on anything, so I could actually talk to him. And he was talking about how his life was basically over now because he was I think he's in the National Guard or something like that. Yeah, and he's like, there's no way this is going to fly. Like, he'd already been in trouble once for I was having this real nice conversation with him. I was like, man, just connecting with this dude. I was like, dude, I can't believe this. This sucks. Why would this happen to us? So bad. He was like, yeah. And this isn't going to fly with the National Guard. I'm already on thin ice. And I was like, oh, man, has this happened to you before? He was like, yeah, something like this. I had a first-degree assault and battery.
Oh, my God. Something like this?
I was like, man, if I could just scoot away.
Hey, man, when do you guys want to trade places with me? Can I sit on the floor? Hey, floor guy.
Can I lay across those feet?
Oh, dude, that is a lot. Yeah, man, something like this. I actually I blew up an orphanage. You know, it's just really bad luck, man.
Yeah, I can't believe this shit keeps happening to me.
Wow. Yeah. The people you meet in the back of a jail van. I like to think on the side, like that Amazon smile logo, it's like prison with that little smile underneath of it.
Yeah.
You're like, it wasn't.
Yeah, no, there was no smiling except the people up front. I got a really good view because we could see the driver and passenger, and I got a really good view of the passenger's Facebook feed because he was scrolling for the entire hour and a half that we were going. And
of course he was.
Yeah,
of course
probably
he was.
why he's in the mental state he's in.
Yep.
Social media.
Yep. We did an episode on that.
Yeah. See episode 7.
It was episode 12.
Close enough. Was that literally last episode?
No,
it
it was
was
episode
like-
11. No, was that nostalgia?
I don't know. It was one of the ones before.
Check the last few episodes.
Pre-13. So yeah, we got there. They got us out. Actually, no, we parked and they left us in the van for like 30 more minutes just cause. And then
they were all taking turns shitting in the same stall.
Yeah. Then then they let us out. Took us there's like a little, so in like space movies, or not even space movies, it's actually here on Earth, like in like decontamination rooms, like you walk through and like doors closed, so you're not actually in the facility, but you're in a weird middle ground. They took us in a room like that.
Called a liminal space.
All right. It was a liminal space. They took us in there, closed all the doors around us, and they gave us the first piece of good advice that they'd given yet. And this was actually a nice man. He said it in a nice tone. He wasn't being a dick. And he was like, all right, guys, does anybody have anything else on them? And I'm asking you this now for your own good. You need to tell me, because if you walk into this prison and you bring more drugs in, it will be another felony on top of anything you have. So come clean right now, because we will find it. And everyone was like, oh, no. And so they took us in. And of course, like 30 minutes later, some girl's bawling, crying. And they were like, yep, she had more on her.
Oh, no.
I was like, what? All right. So anyway, took us in, lined us up, took mug shots, all that fun stuff. Have you seen my mug shot?
Nope.
Dude, it's funny.
I think it would break me to see that.
No, you'll laugh. It's funny.
Okay.
I have such a pouty face. I'm just like, meh. And long hair with the hippie tie.
Well, you know what happens if you smile in those? Have you seen the news where they like someone was an inmate was smiling and it's really messed up. It's not funny at all. It's actually terrible. But the way it's like, inmate claims that he was choked because he smiled during his picture. And when you look at the picture, they are clearly choking him.
Yeah.
But it's like, he claims. It's like, what do you mean claims? Like, why did they say the article? Why is the article written that way? Like, inmate was choked for smiling. It's in his mugshot. Like, he's being choked while smiling. Anyway, yeah, don't smile. It's a hazard to the lifter.
Yeah, I was in no position to smile. I was
rest assured.
I was
in no
very concerned about my future
Absolutely.
at this point. So in this jail in Alabama, there's this one little man, and Napoleon complex doesn't even come close to what this man had. This man was maybe 5'1", maybe. With wearing like 2-3X clothes. Like, he looked like he was wearing his father's clothes. This is an officer, just to throw.
You're like, hey, little buddy, are you here for bring your son to work day?
And basically, once we got to the jail, every officer there was super chill. They're like, oh, yep.
Yeah, that's home base for them.
Yeah, they were like, and this is a whole different set of officers because
okay.
I assume the people at Hangout Fest were stressed, probably hot, maybe dehydrated.
That's nice of you to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I've had some time to think about it. They were assholes. But once we got to the jail, all the people were pretty cool. And they were like, yep, standard procedure. These people are harmless, blah, blah, blah. And they were like actually coming up talking to us. They were asking us if we had any questions. People were like, yeah, are we fucked? And they were like, probably not. You'll probably be okay unless you're third time here. And then Adderall guy was like, fuck.
Everyone on the bench looks over at him and he's like just sweating.
He's like, guys, we can grab their guns.
All right, guys, look, I've got a machete up in Nature's pocket.
Guys, I've got an escape raft up there.
Guys, I've got an attack helicopter up in my Nature's pocket. We're getting out of here, boys.
So this little Napoleon man, everyone else is cool.
Wait, I just realized something. Were there women with you too? It wasn't just a bunch of dudes. Like, there were chicks in there too.
Yeah.
Damn.
What?
That just seems so. I mean, it's just the whole, like, I don't know, like, I don't know. There's some weird. It's like when you're with a bunch of dudes, it's just like that brotherly. But when you have like the women there, it just feels like, it just seems so much more inhuman, like so much more traumatizing. Like,
yeah.
I know it's not, but it's just like for some reason that just like it's just hard to believe that that everyone was treated. I don't know.
Oh,
anyway, sorry.
Yeah, there was like 3 or 4 girls there. Yeah, I don't remember much about them. They were mostly crying or yelling at the officers. It was either 0 or 10 for them. So anyway, this Napoleon cop walks in and he just starts walking because they have us standing on this line with our backs to the wall facing forward while they're processing us, which takes forever. And so we're standing there just chilling, talking to the other officers. They're being cool. And then this little guy walks in and he's got his chest puffed out, hands on his little utility belt, just strutting, walking up and down the line, eyeing us down. And he's like, oh, y'all done fucked up now. Literally, word for word. He's like, y'all fucked up now. Y'all are in big trouble. He was like, Babe Annette, come on vacation, leave on probation. So this is obviously something they say a lot.
Wow. Dude, like,
And even in my worried state,
they put Scrappy Doo on scared straight duty.
dude, it was so hard not to laugh at this guy. But I'm pretty sure if I would have took a baton to the dick.
Dude, that would have been not okay. Like maybe he could have gone and worked as like an Oompa Loompa if Willy Wonka or something.
Oh, a prison Oompa Loompa. That's a
Dude, what a d-bag. Like what? Like that was absolutely uncalled for. That's like a misplaced sense of morality. So here's a fun aside.
Mm-hmm.
So I finished Steven Pinker's book, the Better Angels of Our Nature, and it's about how violence has systematically declined. It took me a year on audiobook to finish because it was like 55 hours long because it's like thousands of pages book long. Or 1,000 pages. It was in the way that Steven Pinker writes is that he vigorously, meticulously cross-references all these studies, all these meta-analysis. He has an army of graduate students that do all this for him. So in there, he actually talks about how morality, towards the end of the book, is one of the virtues that we have, obviously, but how also morality is the reason that so many millions of people have died in religious and other cultural and like ethnic cleansing. Like morality should not be the bar. And so it's like you have this dude with this place of morality. He's like, I'm going to scare these kids straight, or I'm going to go, or maybe it wasn't even that. Maybe he was just being
It wasn't a scared straight sort of vibe. It was
okay.
He's very small in every category. And this is where he gets off.
But large on bluster.
Maybe. But, I mean, you can just tell the way this man was acting like he was the laughing stock of everyone there. Like, even the other officers, like, were probably like, Jesus Christ, here he goes again.
Like, and you got, like... there's no conferred benefit. Like there's no conferred
This is
benefit.
just how he got his rocks off. Just yelling at people on vacation that got caught.
What a small man.
Yeah.
In every sense.
Yeah. So it took me, fingerprinted me, which I guess I'm on right.
I thought you were gonna say fingered me, and I was like, is that standard
no,
process?
That's after the fingerprinting.
They fingered me, fingerprinted like
yeah, no. So
no.
I guess I'm on some database now. If my fingerprints are in a government,
the inside of your colons have been photographed on the inside.
So anyway, then they took us to another room, individually, one by one, and I was like, oh shit, now things are about to get real. And it took me in there with another just chill ass cop, and he was like, all right, man. He was like, I'm gonna level with you. This is gonna suck, but it has to be done. I don't want to do it either. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
And he was like, I'm gonna need you to strip down, butt ass naked, and you need to turn around and bend over and cough. And I was like, all right, can do. And I was like,
did you have to spread them like an OnlyFans page?
Yeah, and
like
he was like, he was like on the other side of the room. I was like, you're gonna like stay over there though, right? And he was like, yep.
we're this distance is not going to decrease, correct? And he's like, yes, sir.
If I start hearing footsteps, I'm going to get real nervous.
This shit is going to tighten up. Like
that's supposed to happen in prison, not here. So did that.
I love the idea of him being like, you know what, man, I'm gonna say it. You've got a cute butthole.
You groom down there?
He's like, whoa, hey, bro, me too. I'm a clean colon.
Check me out. He starts stripping.
We're anal twins. Isn't that cool? I'm just trying to add humor to this to your awful. Continue.
Oh yeah.
So he's peeping in your hole.
Yeah. Obviously there was nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was allowed to put my clothes back on, and they took me to a holding cell, which smelled like shit.
Like not just like
no, I guess it wasn't fecal matter. It was straight BO. Just because all these people were on the beach partying, and now they have us crammed in this little cell. And I got to meet some gang members in there that were not from the beach.
You got like all the other people. Like,
yeah, this was now normal holding cell. I got some gang members in there. And like they were like, all right, let's go around the room. They pulled a John.
Let's all get a little bit closer by sharing our most intimate stories.
But instead of, do you believe in God? Or let's say our names and our favorite food. They were like, what's everyone in for? And based on what I was wearing and what I looked like when I told them what I was in for, they started dying laughing, and they were like, "No shit." They're like, "I wonder how the cops figured that out." I was like, "Now I'm being made fun of by gang members."
Oh man, the indignity never ends.
This man's got a face tattoo.
Can I go back to the butthole guy? Like, I felt a lot more respected there.
This man's got face tattoos, and he's laughing at the way I look.
He's like, all right, let's play a game. How many people have you killed? Go, Kyle. And you're like,
Oh,
are we talking like,
I'm in here for parking tickets.
officer, will you stare at my butthole some more? I think I found some
you know
drugs.
what? Yeah, there's something up there.
Turns out I've got a machete up there too.
Oh, I never saw Adderall guy after that. I wonder what happened to him. I didn't see him like there. He found me on Instagram. That's another story though.
Oh wow.
I blocked him.
I remember. Yeah, you do not want any part of that.
Well, it wasn't.
They probably took him to separate repeat offender people, and they were like, "So let's be honest. Like, you know why you're here.
Did you get prescribed Adderall this time?
Did you put it in your pocket in an unmarked baggie?"
Oh, so I was in there, and I saw this man. Like, it looked like I totally just gave him a whole backstory, but it's like a 50-year-old man. Looked like a dentist or something. Real estate agent, something professional.
He was a police officer?
No. He was in the cell.
Oh.
And he was there with a young dude. So I don't know if, like, he was talking to this dude like they came there together. I don't know what the story was there, but this was obviously he got busted a couple times and he was in trouble. And then there was this guy next to me, and he was like, "Yeah, I am wholly fucked." He was like, "This is as bad as it can get." And I was like, "Oh, it'll probably be okay. What happened?" And he was like, "They raided our house at 2 a.m., the place they were staying for Hangout Fest. They raided their beach house and found like several pounds of Molly." And I was like, "You are indeed fucked."
Oh, dude, he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I was like, "I don't know if I want to sit next to you."
Dude, that is awful.
Yeah. So
for just trying to bring the joy to people.
You don't need pounds, though.
No, I agree. No, that is an absurd amount of a very expensive chemical to have.
It was at that point that I started feeling better for myself.
You're like, I've never done anything wrong before. Probably won't do anything wrong ever again.
Not for the next 3 years at least.
Just got to live this down.
Yeah, I didn't know what the deal was, how long it was going to be in there. But my best friend Zach came to the rescue. This man was like, the second they took me away.
I'd like to put it on record before you go in and you start breaking a wrist, jerking him off. He also slapped me across the face because
he
broke his wrist slapping my wrist on my face because I wanted to go with him to help you, and he was like, "No, you're gonna stay here and enjoy yourself." And I was like, "How? I've been slapped in the face. One of my best friends is in handcuffs, and I'm watching a bunch of bands that I didn't even want to see today. Today sucks." And then he walked away, and I was like, "Okay." And so that's all. I just want to say that for the record.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was well meant, and it was designed to. It was a signal that was designed to inspire me to realize that the beauty of the moment and the camaraderie of this situation, and to enjoy what I have. But all it felt like was 5 big ones across my face.
Yeah, I think he was just drunk and slappy. He was just in a slappy mood. He probably would have slapped me too.
There's 2 kinds of drums: slap happy and slappy.
Slappy. Yeah.
That's a really cute way to say potentially aggressive.
If I was in range, being in cuffs, I'm sure I would have got smacked too. Anyway, this man, Zach. So after all this, after the holding cell, I'm sitting in the holding cell for like an hour. This is now like a 10, 11-hour ordeal from the time I originally got cuffed. And at this point, I'm thinking, I'm starting to get pretty hungry. I would enjoy some of this nice prison food that I've heard so much about. They called me out and was like, "Someone's here to post bail for you." And I was like, "No shit. That's awesome."
Wasn't your bail set at like $2,500?
No, $5,000.
It was $5,000?
Yeah.
And isn't that like, it's like a fraction of what the total...
So the way it works, if your bail is $5,000 and you post bail, you post that $5,000, you get out. And then when you get sentenced, when you show up and get sentenced, at the end of the sentencing, you get your $5,000 back. But if you go to a bail bondsman, what they do is they front you the money. You pay them 10%. They front you the money, and then you don't get that 10% back. So what we did was we paid a bail bondsman $500.
Oh, okay.
And they put up $5,000 to let me get out.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So after, more and more paperwork, probably another hour, I got out and got to give Zach a big old hug. Didn't smack me, I don't think.
You don't know. I think the joy overrode the danger.
Yeah, I was like, it sucked in there, dude. I was like, don't go to jail. 10 out of 10 would not recommend.
Here's a pro tip: when you're going to jail, just don't.
Yeah,
don't go.
If I could find this location on TripAdvisor, it would get 1 star.
You'd still give it a star.
I don't. Can you give 0 stars?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the answer has to be.
I feel like I've never seen a 0-star review.
Yeah, no. Maybe. Oh, okay, that would make sense because a 0-star. Well, but then the 0 stars are lumped in with the people who had a really good time but didn't feel like comment. I don't know. That's a weird system. Anyway,
lowest score it would have received.
Okay,
despite butthole guy being nice, he deserves.
I give
better.
it 1 sphincter out of 10.
He deserves better. You should go work at a Wendy's or something.
Take that chill attitude. You don't deserve to be with these ruffians and brutes. You've got a much better head on your shoulder. You're not like Twinkle Dumb and Twinkle. You're not like Twinkle Dumb down here puffing and intimidating people who were just there on a party drug charge.
I would like to know what happened to him. I'm sure he's
Oh, I'm sure he tries really hard to make sure that everyone knows that everyone thinks he's cool.
I'm almost sure that he's been placed on administrative leave. Then.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, little dude in Alabama.
Oh, God. You're in my house now. This is God's house.
Yeah. So we drive back, and I'm like, well, this sucks. This kind of puts a damper on the weekend. And so we're heading into our 3rd day now, and I was like, I guess I'm going to chill in the hotel room and try to figure out my life. And Zach was like, no, you're going to Hangout Fest. And I was like, I showed him my arm, and I was like, I'm not going anywhere, and there's no evidence I've been anywhere because they cut all my bands off.
They reset
including the Hangout wristband.
They hit Alt Control Delete on your party life.
Yeah. So I got back to the hotel. Everyone was super stoked. Everyone was still awake. Very nice.
We were all like staying up to see.
Yeah, it was like 2 in the morning.
We were all out on the beach, and I remember you come strolling across the beach, and I was like, "Oh, Kyle, what happened, baby? What happened? Are you okay? But what did they do to you?"
I came in. Everyone gave me hugs. We drank a lot and had celebratory stickers that night.
Yeah, we did. We immediately were like, "Here, Kyle, you're probably gonna need a few pick me up stickers."
Dude, I heard that from literally every person as they handed me things. They were like, "It's probably the last time you get to do this for a while," and I was like, "Ha ha ha." Throwing it down. Single tear falls.
One solitary sans grain.
Yeah. So next day. Oh, let me just add. On top of the whole Zach being a superstar and coming and getting me, this man was at the jail like for 6 hours before I got there. Because when I was in the Hangout jail, he went and talked to someone, and like he found a reasonable police officer, and he was like, yeah, they're probably going to take him to this place right here. And Zach was like, so I can get there and bail him out, right? And they're like, yeah, after they process him, it'll probably be like an hour and you'll be able to get him out. And Zach was like, dope. Turns around, smacks John. Gets in
I was gonna say, turns around, I've got a mission, slaps John, gets on his horse, rides away.
Shows up at a jail 6 hours early because they didn't want to inconvenient the van driver and make him take not a full load. So they waited till they got 15 people.
Taking not a full load.
Yeah. So
how far was so we were in Bay Minette, which is like a man-made barrier island. How far away from there were you held?
Baldwin County. I think it was an hour or an hour and a half from Bay Minette. Or, yeah, I think that's right. So, pretty long drive to be chained up in a metal box.
Yeah.
With a assault and battery guy next to you. So we get back, all that stuff happens. Next day, I'm like, I'm probably just going to chill here. That wasn't an option. I was dragged to the festival and was told, this is the plan. where everyone's gonna go in. I'm gonna hang out by the Hooters. Because this Hooters has significant. Many things have happened at this Hooters at the other hangout.
I've
fest.
never gotten to Hoot.
We'll talk about.
I've never been a Hootee.
Like you've never been to Hooters or this Hooters?
That Hooters.
Oh, okay.
I've been a Hootay in the past.
Well, it was just like we always went there. We parked the RV there the first year.
Oh, God, it has history.
Yeah, we bottomed out. There's probably still shit down there from the RV. So I hung out at this Hooters. Everyone goes in. All right. And I was like, I don't see how this is going to work because the plan was everyone's going to go in.
Was I there?
With me?
At the Hooters? Are you talking about the...
No, I'm talking about day after I got arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I had to have been there.
Yeah, you were there. I just hung out behind the Hooters. We didn't go in and eat. Like everyone was going in. And that was where I was going to chill at.
I remember that now. Okay.
So I'm chilling at the Hooters. The plan was everyone's going to go in. And when you go in, you have a little RFID thing in your wristband that you scan and it beeps.
Yes.
And then you have to scan out because you can't get back in.
It's how they track the...
Yeah. It's to stop people from doing exactly what we were about to do. So everyone goes in. Everyone goes in. Zach doesn't scan in. He just walks right through. And then...
We had premeditated this plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then slid off his wristband, handed it to John, and John's goal was to walk out and give it to me. He handed it to him, and he goes, John, you know your mission. And John said, yes. And then Zach smacked him again.
I don't even think like the final syllable had finished forming before I got hit across the face. And I was like, Zach, why? And he was like, now you know.
Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, and walked away. And I was like, oh, if you weren't so physically intimidating and so handsome, ooh, I'd have strong words.
Because that's the first thing John said. I see John strolling up because I'm like probably a quarter mile away. Would you say? Mm-hmm. About a quarter mile away because there's a big line. And I see John strolling up, and John's wearing this like this big beach hat with this open button-down shirt, and he's just like strolling up to me, and he walks up and he's like, so Zach smacked me again.
It makes me really wonder how he was brought up, if that was like the way that his family was like, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Smack. No. I think he was just trying to get you in the moment, you know?
Okay.
And it worked.
Yeah.
I don't know if you needed that motivation, but it worked.
Yeah, I think I knew what was at risk. I could have potentially, because I was still wearing mine and I had his in my pocket, and I also had to not beep out, so I could still, because I didn't beep in, like that was the whole point.
Yeah.
And I came in and so anyway, sorry, so I had to beep out and I came. Yeah.
So comes up. We had a hell of a time sliding on my hand. You remember that?
Oh, you got a big chonky thumb.
Yeah, I got a big old thumb. And we finally shoehorned it onto my wrist. Mm-hmm. And I walked in, beeped right in, and went in. And it would
have been so funny if that cop was like, "Hey!" I was I know you. Just like he has like a little head siren on his hat, starts going off. Wee woo. Sir.
He just gets in line behind me. Woo! Mega horn, pull over.
Sir, I need you to step to the right.
Where are the drugs?
Sir.
But I got in and enjoyed the festival as much as you can with your whole world burning.
Oh, God.
No, I actually had a good time. It was
the last day was
Odessa was that night.
Yep.
I got to see them for like the sixth time.
That was a good night. I
Dancing on the beach.
That. Oh, it was beautiful. Yeah, it was so the weather. It was like the cloudless sky. I don't know if it was cloud or cloudless, but it was like this nice like seaward breeze blowing, and the weather was just the right temperature. It wasn't too hot, too cold. There were thousands and thousands of people on the same wavelength, and the way they had set up the music, like in the tower speakers, was like every 200 feet. So like it felt like you were close to the stage, even though you weren't. That was so much fun.
Yeah, and one of my friends, like we got all the way to Odessa. I was having a good time, and I was still drinking and stuff. I was just like, I probably need to stop.
Because that's the chemical that's okay.
It's legal.
Yep.
I was like, I probably need to not smoke anything since that stays in your system so long, and I'm probably going to start getting drug tested here soon. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't doing that. And
that's the right executive call.
Yeah. But then one of my friends, when it got around to Odessa time, they were like, "Here, take this," and pulled out stickers. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not really in the mood to party. I'm just gonna hang out. and they were like, they said something revolutionary that I never thought of. You know what it was?
Just do it.
This is probably the last time we're gonna get to enjoy this for a while.
Oh, okay.
I was like, ah, dope. And as I was saying dope, it got thrown in my mouth. So I really enjoyed that Odessa. But I remember that dancing on the beach. We were wilding out.
Yeah. That was an amazing time.
Yeah.
It was just good to have everyone back together. We knew you were safe and sound. We didn't know what the future held, and all we had was that moment.
Yeah, that was such an uncertain time for me. Like, literally the most uncertain time of my life was, like, right there on the beach. And I was totally aware of it in that moment. Like, I was having the thought, like, wow, this, like, the future is completely, I have no clue what's about to happen. And I was like, but I'm not freaking out. And I was like, why am I not freaking out? I was like, why am I not having a panic attack? This is so weird. Like, everything in me is telling me I should be freaking out, but I'm not. And I didn't. It was weird. I think for some reason, I think when everything is as shitty as it can be for me, for some reason, I'm perfectly comfortable with that.
You find clarity.
It's weird. Like, anytime things seem like impossibly bad for me, from my point of view, like, I have that revelation. I'm like, everything is so bad, why am I okay right now? It's weird. I feel like I'm just comfortable with shit happening. But obviously this was next level shit.
Yeah, that was a man. We were just so happy to have you back because we were all so scared. We didn't know when you'd get out. If Zach was going to come back empty. Hammed it. He brought his ham back, but no Kyle. Or he actually empty-handed would mean he did not bring his ham back, but he brought Kyle back. I'd rather be empty-handed than empty-Kyled. Kyled. And so, it was really, we were all just trying to enjoy it and keep, some people's resolution was like, well, I mean, we can't do anything. Let's just keep. And then some of us were like, this is awful. Like, we want to show, like, be in solidarity and not, just kind of take it easy and just kind of wait to hear anything. And I think we all met in the middle and went to the beach and just kind of like enjoyed the sundown and met some other beachgoers that were there. And
I'm glad y'all didn't just not do anything that day.
No, I mean, ultimately, like, I didn't want to see a lot of the acts that were there, and we were all super worried about you, but I'm so glad. And so, we've kind of hinted at a little bit, but after that, I mean, kind of bring us up to speed to today. So. Okay,
so not to go as in depth as I just did with all that, but got a lawyer, got on a pretrial diversion program because literally before this I had been in trouble once in my life, and it was for like underage drinking in a national park, which was like a $200 fine. So that's not even counted.
Oh, I didn't know you had a history, Kyle. You're a bad boy.
Yeah, if they figured that out, I'd probably still be in prison. But so I got on a diversion program, which basically was like a packet of rules that I had to sign. Wasn't allowed to drink, wasn't allowed to do any drugs, couldn't travel because I had to call a number, an Alabama number, every single day. And on there was a recording of a lady, fresh every day, and she would go down a list of colors. What?
I know what you're talking. It was just funny.
She would go down a list of colors like red, yellow, peach, maroon, guitar box color, like things that I didn't even think were color, like zucchini. That's not a color.
That's because they ran out of Roy G. Biv, and then they were like ground brown.
Ground brown. Yeah. So anyway,
off color, cloud, overcast, gray.
Yeah. So I got, my first color was maroon because I got a lawyer. He got all that going through, and then his secretary called me, and they're like, "Hey, you need to call this number right now and get set up on this plan." And I was like, "What do you mean? Why so urgent?" And they're like, "Because you were supposed to do it the day you left jail." This was like 2 months later.
What?
And I was like, I didn't know that. And they were like, "Call right now." And I called, and no one answered. So I called back, and I was like, "Hey, no one answered. Is this something I can take care of tomorrow?" And they're like, "No, you need to keep calling until someone answers." And I was like, "All right." So I got set up on that, and then I was like, they're like, "All right, so you're going to drug test however often." Or they were like, "You're going to drug test. You need to call this number every single day, including weekends and holidays, And if your color gets called,
please talk about your cock guy.
oh, I will.
Okay.
This is gonna be a long podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, we're already like at the time. Is this a 2-parter?
We might have to do a 2-parter. Because we want to keep this celebratory. This is the celebration.
Yeah, right now this sounds bad. Just so you know, I'm done now. Let's go ahead and
skip to the end of the book on the last page. This has been resolved. Like Kyle is a Freeman
as of yesterday. Anyway,
yeah, because he called me and he was like, "John, what?" Like you called me. It was like the most casual conversation. You were like, "Hey, buddy, what's up?" And I was like, "Oh, just read and was gonna exercise. I'm gonna do this." And you're like, "Oh, cool. What else?" And I'm like, I like turtles. And you're like, cool, well, I got 3 things. One is I still didn't get my thing in the mail. Second was we need to do this for the podcast. And 3, oh, yeah, I'm a free man now. And I was like, what? Why didn't you just call me and start screaming?
John was like, no, you're not.
Yeah, no, was like, because we've talked about it so long. I've been like, Kyle, are you free? And you're like, you'll be one of the absolute first to know. And I'm like, okay. But then I would ask all the time, just in case you didn't.
Everyone asks. For this last month since I had completed all my... We're getting ahead of the story. We're getting ahead of the story here.
We don't have time to tell the second half right now, though.
Okay. We will tell the second half after. So where'd we leave off?
We're talking about you had to go pee in a cup.
Okay. Oh, all right. The next one will be the Chronicles of the Piss Man.
The Chronicles of Cockman. Cockman Sir Pissenstein.
And plot twist, I am not the Cockman.
No, you're the cocky.
I am the cocky.
He's the cocker. So thank you guys so much for part 1 of episode 13, the Savage Discourse celebration. Sode. Hyphen sode. And we will pick this up with part 2, episode 14 of the celebisode. And we'll do a brief recap at the beginning if you choose to start with that episode.
Yeah.
And thank you guys. If you liked what you hear, please drop a subscribe, leave a like, give us a comment, a commie.
A commie.
Give us a commie.
From Mother Russia.
Give us a comrade, brother.
Yeah.
And as always, we appreciate you. You're beautiful.
Yeah. Hydrate, meditate. Don't forget to celebrate.
Oh, beep, 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 beep. That's beautiful. Okay. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you for part 2 coming up soon.
Bye.